UFC 252 is in the books, and the biggest talking point for me, Herb Dean's refereeing. Former fighters have been coming out saying they don't really feel protected in there with Herb Dean. He had the Francis Trinaldo stoppage is probably the most important one to talk about when it comes to a slow stoppage. It was very clear that his opponent was well and truly out, could not defend himself. And with Francis Trinaldo stopping, kind of looking at Herb Dean going, are you going to stop this fight or are you going to keep going? And then made him eat another shot that he really didn't need to take. Dan Hardy was vocal about how disgusted he was in that stoppage. They had a little bit of a choice of words, as you could say, at the side of the octagon. And there was a hail of Twitter trolls aren't exactly what we need to focus our lives on. But in this case, they might have a little bit of a point about all the criticism that Herb Dean was taking. And when it came to this fight, Sean O'Malley versus Vera, it was a very early stoppage by Herb Dean standards. And as Joe Rogan and Dominic Cruz said on commentary, it was an interesting stoppage. So I'm wondering whether Herb Dean is caving to the pressure. Is the outside noise starting to get into that head, get through those beautiful dreads of his? I thought it was a good stoppage considering Sean O'Malley's injury. We could all see from early in that round that something was wrong with his leg. And as soon as he took any shots, Herb Dean jumped in there to stop the fight. But I will be taking a good eye forward, looking at Herb Dean's future fights to see whether this is a trend where he's going to start calling fights a little bit earlier rather than a little bit later. Personally, hoping that it is earlier rather than later. Give the fighters a chance to fight again. Fight another day with head trauma that has been a major issue in all sports, all contact sports throughout the world. You want these guys to be healthy and also safe in there. And Herb Dean has been the gold standard in refereeing for a long time, but the last couple of years he's had some questionable decisions. It's a tough one. I think it's just interesting how the contrast of the stoppages for Herb Dean, and we'll have to keep track of it in the future because you don't want to see referees being influenced or their head being confused about this outside noise because it's one of the most important jobs in any sport, refereeing. But in MMA, it's literally the difference between a win and a loss, half your purse for some fighters with the show and win. But that's another argument for another day. This has been Sports Talk. I'm Reese, and I'm tapping out. This has been a big, drastic difference.
It was at this moment that he knew he fucked up.